Hi, it's James Foley here, and I am going to do a little tutorial for you today. I'm going to show you how to draw Stella from Stellarphant. So what you're going to need is a white A4 piece of paper, a lead pencil, an eraser, and some colored pencils or some textures if you have them as well. So pause this video, go grab all that stuff, then come back and press play, and I'll take you step by step through how we draw Stella. Okay, so I'm drawing using an app called Procreate. Procreate is a drawing app for the iPad, and it is an Australian-made app, and it's wonderful. And then when we're drawing Stella, we have got her head shape, which is kind of like a pear, really. Excellent. And she's got two ears. So there's one there. There's one there. And the ears are quite large. And we've got where her eyes are going to go, which are, I mean, if we did a very light little sort of cross in the main pear-shaped part of her head there, her eyes are up the top part here. There's one here, there's one here. Little like plain noughts and crosses, isn't it? Now, her nose is going to start sort of in the center there. And I'm going to curve it down. Actually, we're going to curve it down like that. And then we're going to curve it across. And then we're going to curve it back up. And we're going to draw the other side of it too, like this, and like this, and like this. That's her trunk. Now, I don't even know how to describe those shapes. It's kind of like three parts. There's this long oval here, then there's another oval here, and then there's almost like a little rectangle there. Normally, I would draw quite lighter than this. And hopefully, yeah, you've got that eraser handy so that you can take out the parts you don't need afterwards. Okay, now, let's put on her body. Her body is basically the same shape as her head. It's just that we're going to draw it bigger. Okay, so there's her body. And we're going to put in her waist. And we're going to add her legs. One leg, another leg. Now I'm not drawing them the same length because I'm going to make it look like she's sort of walking. And we're going to put an arm on here. Another arm here. All right. Now, this is all the basic shapes. Now that we've got these in place, we can start to add a bit more detail. So we're going to have pupils in the eyes. We're going to have eyebrows. We can have her mouth here. We can have the sleeves on her top. And we can add the frilly parts as well. These frilly parts there. She's got two frilly collars on her shirt too. And she's got a frill going along here too. And she's got a skirt on. And the skirt comes to like around about where her knees would be. And we're going to have fingers, or at least fingernails, on her legs and on her hands. And we'll have a bit of a line inside the ear as well. Okay, so this is all like the basic shapes. Now, oh, I've also forgotten. She has a double bump on her head, okay? So she's got a bump like this. That's something that all Asian elephants have. And Stella is an Asian elephant. Okay, cool. So all the basic shapes are there. Now, hopefully you've drawn that lightly enough. Okay, I've done it a little dark here just so you can see it. But I'm just going to do a little cheat here and lighten that up a little bit on my screen because I'm going to go grab a darker brush now. And maybe you could grab like a fine liner or a texter or something like that. And maybe you can go over the top. So I'm actually going to start with her eyes. I like being able to zoom in on the iPad. It's very handy. Okay, so with the eyes, I did draw them as a full circle, but we don't draw them as a full circle when we're doing the final version. We draw them as almost like a loop, a letter C. There's a little gap in it. We do the opposite on this side. There's her eyes. Eyebrows, just a single line. She doesn't have eyelashes. We've got the bump on top of her head. And I don't draw all the way down here. I leave a bit of a gap. And then I put the sides of her head here. And now we can put the ears on. I might have even drawn these a little bit big today. That's okay. I think one of them's a little bigger than the other as well. Okay. All right, so we've got ears, we've got her head, we've got her eyes. Now we can do the trunk. So I'm going to start here on this side, and I'm going to have the trunk curl, and then the end of the trunk has got a double bump on it. Okay, so like that. And then I'm going to start here where her mouth is, and I'm going to draw the other side. And I'm going to leave some of the creases in there. And I'm going to put some wrinkles down her trunk, like that. Great. I think I might have actually made her head a little long, but that's okay. It's close enough. Okay, now we are going to go down the front of her top like this. And it has, is it 4 or 5 buttons? I can't actually remember now. Let's just make it 4 for now. I'm sure I'm going to get emails about this. James, it's 5. That's okay. If I get it wrong, it doesn't matter. We just got to get it close enough, eh? Now we've got to do a few loops there on her, the frills on her shoulder. And we've got the frills going down her collar as well. And then we've got the sides of her top, and we've got sort of her waist, and then the bottom of the top is frilly. And then we've got her arms, toenails, well, they're fingernails in this case, aren't they? I suppose. Putting some little creases kind of where her elbow is, I guess. I think I have made her head a little big in this version, but it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. And then there's a crease going down this side of the skirt and one going down this side of the skirt, and then we've got a foot here. And a foot here. All right. Now, if you're working on paper, you can use your eraser and you can erase out the pencil lines. Because I'm on the iPad, I can just turn the pencil lines off in a click like that. Done. Boom. And then you can make any little adjustments if you need to, but pretty much that's our character. Now it's time for color. I'm going to add a new layer, which will be my color layer. When I do Stella's color as well, I use a watercolor brush to get a lovely texture for her skin. So you might like to use watercolor. You might like to use a lead pencil to get sort of a scratchy sort of effect. Oh, I've gone over the eye. That's okay because I can erase it after. I'm sure though if you're working on paper, you're probably being a lot more careful than I am. But yeah, this is basically how I got a lovely sort of texture for Stella's skin throughout the book by using a digital watercolor brush. All right, I'll just erase the parts that I don't need. Okay, great. Let's go grab it's a very, very bright, reddy orange color. Let's grab a brush and we can color in this skirt first. It's basically the same color as the flight suits of NASA astronauts. They wear these high-vis, really bright orange suits for their takeoffs and their landings. So that if there's an emergency, they can be seen easier. It's high vis, yeah. And then her top is actually a very, very light grey. It's a very light grey. It's actually even a little dark. It's better. And the frilly parts are sort of on the shoulders are sort of still white. And then she's got this sort of flowery, starry sort of pattern on her outfit as well. So I'm going to reselect that orange color and I'm going to start adding those on. See, I wanted these to kind of look like stars, but also kind of look like flowers. So it was kind of a very sort of feminine sort of outfit, but also had a sort of a hint of space about it. Because I'm sure that some of you know that her name is Stella because that name actually means star. And also because it rhymes with elephant. Got to colour in those buttons as well. Okay, great. There's Stella. Now, you might like to finish it up there, but I may as well just give you a quick demo and show you a few extra things, hey? So I'm going to just add some shadow underneath her feet, and then I'll show you some of the other things that I did to make the character work when I did the illustrations. I'm just going to darken that up, and I'm going to erase part of it too so it doesn't show through her skin and her toes. Okay, so you might like to add some of these details, you might not, it is totally up to you. Let me grab some other trickier, fun brushes. So this is a sprinkly brush, and I used one of these to get the freckles on Stella's skin. So I'm just going to adjust some of these settings. And Stella has some freckles on, I'm just going to turn those up a little bit in size, on her nose and her cheeks, and a few, sometimes on her ears, but not in her eyeballs. I'm just going to erase out those ones that I don't want. Otherwise she looks like she's got some sort of odd disease. Okay, now I'm going to grab another brush that has got this one. It's got lots of little lines that you can colour in at once like this. And I used a brush like this for the wrinkles on her face. So I'm going to just make a new layer there, and I'm going to add some wrinkles going down her trunk. You might like to just draw them in manually. Some extra wrinkles. They don't have to be super dark. Great. Now, the great thing I like about working digitally too is that I can add things like shading, and I can adjust them as I go. So if I find I've done it a bit too dark, I can adjust it. So let me give you a quick demo of how that works. Let me grab a brush. All right, so let's imagine that the light source is coming from this direction, from in front, or down on an angle. So that would make shadows sort of here, and here, and here. And these shadows are coming out really quite dark. Look at that, looks like she's got a beard now. So what I can do is go to the settings here, and I can reduce the strength of those. And it still does look a bit like a 5 o'clock shadow, like a beard, to be honest, but I'm going to blur it out a little bit in a second. So just bear with me while I add these details in, this shading in, and then I will blur it out. Okay, I'm going to blur those shadows, and now I'm going to add another layer that is going to add a few little highlights on there too. So I'm going to change to a white brush, and I can add a little bit of, whoa, too bright. Yeah, again, that's probably still too bright, but I'm just going to roughly add it in where I want it to go, and then I'm going to blur it out afterwards. I'm going to reduce that strength down a little bit, and now I'll add a blur. There we go. Okay, that's basically how I drew Stella. That's the character. Now, your very last step on your drawing is to sign your name. So I'll put my signature down here. And we're done. That is how you draw Stella from Stellarphant. I hope you had fun with that. I've got lots of other how to draw character videos on this YouTube channel and on my socials, so you can go and have a look at those if you want to do some more drawing, happy reading, happy writing, and happy book week, everyone. See you later.